tap to reveal, right? Observe only, no trades. So the one rule I have is the first 15 minutes of the market is typically when the most amount of chop happens. In fact, I'm going to use this opportunity to break down the trade I took on Monday. Okay, so Monday's trade was something like this. So let me quickly see. There we go. So if you look at Monday's trade, it looks something like this from a chart perspective, right? So if we break this down, let me go here. Let me break this down. There we go. So from an image perspective, let's look at this carefully. So what we saw here was, we saw this sort of image, right? We saw this happening here. So what we saw was market opened here. We had the first 15 minutes chop around, and the entry came at around 9:52. 9:52 to about 9:55, 10 Eastern. This was the trade. So how could we have caught that using the system? So 9:30 to 9:45, you're not allowed to trade. Now from 9:45 to 10, how are you allowed to trade, right? Your zone is in a high volume zone, so this is your best execution window. You want to manage all of your trades or technically be out by 10 Eastern, okay? All right, and now from here we just continue the process. So now we're going to move on to part 2, right? This is where it gets more exciting, right? So let me just change the screen. This is where it gets more exciting, right? So I'm really excited to share this because this is where things get real. So if we go to our charts over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually dissect the trade I took on Monday, right? This would be Monday the 18th, okay? So here we are, Monday the 18th. So on Monday the 18th, I had the same process, key level 1, key level 2, key level 3. Again, this is ES futures, right? This trade made $875 US dollars, right? This trade made $875 US dollars. And so this was the actual trade, right? As you can see, right, this is how it played out, right? Using the rules. So I'm going to go through the rules one at a time so that you can understand. Okay, so let's break this down. So 9:30 to 9:45, right? Or 14:44 in the UK. Okay, so this is the first 15 minutes. So the first 15 minutes, you're not interested in really doing anything. You're not interested. You are observing the market. All right, so from an order flow perspective, it looked like this. I was observing the market. Okay. So using the execution process, let's see how we can do it. So what the app will force you to do is that the app will force you to type in the opening price. So the opening price on ES was something like this. So this was 9:30. This was the 9:30 candle. The opening price for ES was 74.38.5. 74, right? 38.5. 78.34.5 . Okay. You want to get crystal clear on where the market's opening. The app will give you a suggestion. Price is 74.38.5, sits outside of your high volume area. High volume area we defined as here. Okay. So when it comes to the actual, let's say we're in a high volume area, when it comes to the actual execution, the system will prompt you to wait for 9:45, right? Notice how disciplined I've created the system. Trading before 9:45 is not permitted. Right? Because what I've found is that myself and a lot of traders, a lot of the stupid losses can be avoided if you simply did not trade between 9:30 and 9:45, especially 9:30 to 9:40. You don't need to be taking trades during that time. So if you want to, you need to also explain to the system why you want to override the rule and be honest, right? So do you see how if you break rules, having this application with the correct knowledge can help you from not breaking those rules? So it's just going to force you, let's say cancel, right? You want to wait for 9:45. So let's go back to the top. This is 9:30, right? Let's drag the cursor to 9:45, right? As you can see at the top here, 9:45, 9:45 Eastern, okay? 9:45. So now we get to 9:45, we can now proceed. And now from here, this is where the system gets even more exciting. This is the entry protocol, and I call it the Bolt breakout blueprint, right? So for those who don't know what this is, the Bolt breakout blueprint, let's break this. Let me quickly break this down. So we have break, optimal retest, liquidity absorption, and then I look to pull the trigger. So let's break this down on Monday's trade. So what we have over here is, let's just bring this here. So we have Monday 9:45. So between 9:30 and this is now 9:45. At 9:45, notice how no trades were taken. So if you're somebody who gets chopped out, you don't want to trade before 9:45. So this is the 9:45 candle. Never trade before 9:45. This is the best way to avoid stupid losses. Okay, so let me just make this